Hi, my babies. How are we doing? All right. I just want to do a, is it really over between you and somebody else? Okay. So per usual, if this doesn't apply to you, sit right with you. You don't want to hear what I have to say. That is okay. I will be back some other time. But I really want to see, is it over between you and this person? But first, I really want to see what is the current energy between you and somebody else, and then we'll get in the outcome. What is going on between you and this person? Okay, so I got the Five of Swords, Death, and the Sun. And at the bottom of the deck, I got the Page of Swords right over here. One sec. This is incredibly sad because I actually saw this trend, maybe this was a thing months ago on TikTok, and it said like, have you seen those ones that says, well, I met my soulmate, but I owed the universe Karma, and now I had to pay in full debt. In a lot of ways, and I rarely tap into collectives like this, you really did feel like you owed some spiritual debt in some form or fashion, or karmic debt, and it cost you your soulmate, it cost you your person. In a way, I'm not saying you're in this position where you're like, I deserve everything I got. No, but you're kind of like, I owed them something. Because I'm staring at this death card, because you see how like there's a family right here, and they're kind of like begging, please don't take us. You know, I'm thinking of literally the angel of death, you know, because they say, I guess depending on, I guess what folklore you go off of, the angel of death, you know, when they say she comes to you, it's time for you to go. Your timeline is done. And that's kind of how you feel. Maybe you literally did process this person like a death, almost. Makes me curious with the Sun energy. You guys, not saying there wasn't toxicity, or again, this person wasn't to blame on certain things, but you still hold unconditional love towards this person. I think that in a funny way, you were forced to leave them behind, whether they full-blown rejected you, or there were other circumstances that got in the way. But a lot of these circumstances is, I'm going to be honest, is self-sabotage. Whether it's you, whether it's this person, doesn't matter. But I think, again, when you reflect on this person, you keep thinking yourself, I have spiritual debt. I'm going to use that word, I owed, and I had to owe in full. But, you know, I don't think, let me make this clear though, and that's where I said this feels so sad, because this is not like, oh my God, there's just this ex I cannot get over. No, I think this is somebody you literally see family with, you saw children with, and you feel like it's gone. That's where I feel like you truly process this person like a death. I always say sometimes grieving somebody that is still alive is sometimes one of the worst feelings on earth. But regardless, I think this person is watching you. On the flip side, with that Page of Swords at the bottom of the deck right here, you want to know what he reminds me of? I cannot think of his name. The movie Mulan, I guess Mulan's boyfriend essentially towards the end, or the guy that trained her for the army, I forget his name. I'll make a man out of you. You toughened up because of this person. But there is, with that Page of Swords, he looks like he's going to conquer something. That's where I'm saying right here. So I always say sometimes you can be consumed with an emotion before you burst. But I feel like the both of you, in a funny way, are kind of embodying this energy with the Sun of maybe there's hope. Maybe there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe this is a restart button. But at the same time, let me see more about your person real quick. How are they feeling about this? Because immediately I picked up this collective's energy. Scorpio and Leo are coming out strongly. Okay. Then I got the King of Wands, and then the Nine of Pentacles right here. And then the Queen of Swords in reverse of the bottom deck. Yeah, this person's definitely wondering what you're up to. I think the both of you are single. Don't make it fit. Okay. I think the both of you have really led different lives on, you know, some form or fashion. I do feel like there is a no contact period between the two of you right now. But I think the Five of Swords, again, that's the both of you. I think the both of you are thinking about each other very, very heavily right now. And I feel like since this eclipse season has ended, it's been more intense as far as this person energetically. Okay, maybe during eclipse season, things were kind of radio silent between the two of you as far as like you got no signs, no nothing. You could have been doing okay, but now things are getting more overwhelming, more than maybe usual. So with that sun, because you are getting those signs and synchronicities again, you could be like, well, maybe there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Well, maybe I'm finally hangman in reverse at the bottom of the deck. And then, you know, there is something about, well, maybe there is a little bit of hope. Maybe everything's going to be okay. Because what have I always said about my death? With death comes rebirth. And you're hoping, I'm going to be honest, that there is going to be a rebirth process between the two of you. Okay, and then I'll get into the outcome next. So that now I got the 5 of Wands and then the 9 of Cups in reverse. So that's where I'm saying self-sabotage got in the way. But I'm going to be honest, yes, there could have been people in the way. I'm not going to lie. But I feel like for this collective, especially if you're having this mindset, yeah, Temperance in reverse at the bottom of the deck. Honestly, this is going to have to go to 2 parts, I'm not going to lie, because there is a lot. I feel like this collective, you're taking accountability, I'm not going to lie, because I'm actually going to tap in more in your person, what they did, because I feel like heavily this is your energy. 1 second. But yeah, like I was saying, I'm going to tap more into this person's energy also as well, because with that King of Wands, yes, it's this person a little bit. Like I said, I think the both of you right now that have something in common right now is you both are keeping tabs on each other of some form or fashion, okay? But that's where I'm saying this collective, you're kind of taking accountability maybe for your own wrongdoings. There's a reason I brought up the beginning of this reading. You felt like in a funny way you owed the universe something. And I think that maybe you're kind of reflecting back and doing that. Maybe I wasn't on my best behavior. I'm going to be honest. Maybe in the past, this collective, you were kind of a jealous person. Because again, whether this person, you know, ended the dynamic or you did, doesn't matter. There was self-sabotage here. And I think a lot of it came from this collective, though. Because I think whether it was or wasn't, you were always, in relationships in general, you always had this fear of never being chosen, that you were never the one, that there was always somebody else. And I think, as bad as it sounds, you kind of relied on this person to always give you some form of validation. And I think at one point when they didn't give you validation or they pulled back a little bit, self-sabotage came into place. Again, whether they made the move to end it or you did, it doesn't matter, okay? Clearly there was some form of jealousy onto this person or that you had at one point. But with this 9 of Pentacles, there's been some distance in time between the both of you, okay? I don't think this person was innocent by no means. That's why I'm saying I'm going to tap into their energy, you know, for a second. But, you know, let's be real. With that Temperance in reverse, that's coming from a place you didn't choose yourself. I tell this to a lot of people. If you're in a relationship, you cannot claim, well, I'm happy, they're the love of my life and this and that, but yet you're always on watch and on call for what they're up to. And I hear this a lot too. Well, they've done this, this, and this. Doesn't matter. A true relationship, if you want it to work, you got to be secure in it. And with all due respect, this collective, I don't think you were secure in the past. You did it from a place of you wanted this person to choose you. Why? Because you didn't choose yourself. You were at your most unhealed version, unfortunately, when you met this person. Makes me curious. Like I said, I'll get into this person more. You could have really spent this time thinking you guys were counterparts at one point, because I don't think this person was all the way out there themselves. Let me do one more for this collective. Yeah, Page of Cups. I think you looked at yourself, I'm going to be honest, as emotionally immature at one point. That's where I'm saying I think, because with this King of Wands, there is something about this collective. You're taking initiative. I think when it comes to your emotions and the way you handle your emotions, you've progressed a lot. And maybe for a while, again, you could have been single, because maybe when this person left, I'm not saying, again, they're off the hook or they were peaches and cream, but I think real quickly you were realizing maybe I was kind of the problem. Maybe I was the catalyst a little bit. Because I always preach sometimes, I can't stand, and don't get me wrong, yes, there, you know, when breakups happen, there can be that one person's just a jerk and you could have done no wrong. But however, I always say it takes 2 to tango. And maybe that is a phrase you live by. It takes 2 to tango. If I wasn't so innocent either, I was also the cause and effect. So true accountability of this collective. I know I said this, but one more and I'll get in this person. Yeah, 10 of Wands right there. 5 of Pentacles. That's what I'm saying. Even though you got left out in the cold, I think you took on the load. Not saying, again, you left this person off the hook, but you're like, okay, regardless if this person comes back or not, My neighbor's working on a power hose right now. Whether this and I got an airplane flying over me, so I'm talking loud. Sorry, because it got noisy all of a sudden. But that's exactly where I'm seeing right now. You could be at this position. I'm to blame a little bit, but let me see what your person is up